This is Trevor White, and I'm going to be presenting my final project for Java 1. So starting with part 1 of it, if we look at the retail item class, you can see I have 3 fields that I've created. The first one is a string variable named description, then an integer variable named units on hand, and a double variable named price. In the constructor here, you can see I have 3 parameters. All of them are the variables here, and I'm just setting the variables for the object when it is created equal to whatever the user inputs. And then each time this constructor is used, it will print out your item has been stored. Here we have the mutator methods, and these are just setting their values equal to whatever the user inputs. For description, let's say instead of jacket you want coat, you would just type in coat, and then it would set the description to coat. And then over here we have the accessor methods, and these are just returning the value that you want to get. So if you want to get the description, it returns the description. If you want to get the units, it returns the units on hand. If you want to get the price, it returns the price. Now over here in the main, all we're doing is creating 3 retail item objects, and each one has their own unique description, units on hand, and price. And so if we run this program here, you can see it stores all 3 items, and then those should be saved to be used at any time. Now switching to number 2, we'll start with the cash register class. You can see I've got multiple new fields. So the first one is a retail item object, because we need to know what item the user wants to pick. So we have to have one in the class that's defined. Then we have an integer value for how many the user wants of that item. Then we have a double named sub. This is the subtotal, which is going to be the price times the quantity. Then we have the tax, which is the subtotal multiplied by 0.06. And then finally we have the total, which is the subtotal plus the tax. Now over here in the constructor, it takes the retail item object that the user inputs, or that the user wants to get the value for, and then it has the int quantity that the user wants of that retail item object. So here it's just setting item 1 equal to item, so it knows which retail item object is being used. This is just setting the quantity to whatever quantity the user inputs, and then this is just calculating what the values would be from the retail item and then the quantity. So here it's getting the item.getPrice method, which returns the price of whatever that item is multiplied by the quantity. And then this .tax is equal to the subtotal that we got right here multiplied by 0.06. And then finally this .total is equal to tax that we got here plus the subtotal which we got here. And then these are just the accessor methods that return the values that you just got. So now up to the main, we can see we create a retail item object right here. Then we ask the user for input, and then we call the validate method. The validate method just makes sure that the quantity the user inputs is a valid quantity that can be used with the item. See, it only has 12 units, so you can only at most put 12 units, and you can't have 0 units, so it has to be between 1 and 12. And if it's not, it will make you put in a quantity until it is the correct quantity. Then we create the cash register object, reg1, and input the quantity the user entered and the item that we are using. In this case, it's this one here, the jacket. And then we call the printout method with the register cash register object as the argument. So if we go over to the printout method, we can see it just prints out the accessor methods that we created. So the subtotal, the tax, and the total. And so now if I run this program, I'll type in 0. You see it doesn't work because you can't buy 0 things. I'll type in 13. That does not work because that is not a valid amount. There is only 12 as stated. But then if I type in 12, it will give you the value of the price times the quantity. It'll give you the tax, which is the subtotal times 0.06. And then finally it gives you the total, which is the subtotal plus the tax. And then onto the next one, part 3. We'll start with the sales receipt class. So very similar to the cash register class, right here, all the same things here. But I added a method called createR, which creates a text file named yourreceipt.txt. Then another method called writeR, which here throws exception. This is in the case that a exception occurs, it will like shut down. So this right here is making it so that it's writing to the yourreceipt.txt file that was just created over here, and then this is just writing all the quantities that we want. So first just writing sales receipt, unit price, and then this default format thing is the default format for US currency, and then I put the price here and it will format that. Then we have the quantity here, then we have the subtotal, tax, and total, and then finally you have to close the program, so you have to do that. And now up to the main here. Oh, whoops, that's the wrong one. Create a scanner object, add the retail item that we've been using. Now ask how many the user is purchasing. Same validate method here that was used in the last one. And then we create a new sales receipt object. I create the receipt, and then I call the write method. And so now if I run this program, how many items will we be purchasing? I'll put 13. It doesn't work, that's too many. I'll put 0. It doesn't work, that's too little. But if I put 12, process has finished. So obviously you can't see anything here, so you may be wondering what's wrong. I have to exit the view mode for you to see this, but oops, it didn't run this one. Okay, let's see. What's wrong here? Oh, okay, whoops. Sorry about that. So now it should run. So again, 13, 0, 12. And then you'll see here, I have a receipt.txt, and oops. You can see it's formatted the sales receipt and then the unit price, the quantity, the subtotal, sales tax, and total.